Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour, your source for all hard rock, heavy metal, new metal, alternative, punk, horror punk, hardcore, rock, and all local bands, with your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Right now, while you're chilling on your couch listening to me, Josh TKO, you're wondering how you can get out there and get your bod moving? Well, you can get your bod moving by listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
The views and opinions of the guest do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Radio Network, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Radio Network.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I am your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather. As always, I bring you guys and gals awesome interviews. Today, it's an honor and a very, very huge privilege to have Mr. Josh TKO Turner. He is a pro wrestler and actor from Indiana. Josh trained at OVW in Louisville, Kentucky, my home state, when OVW was the official WWE Developmental Center. Josh went on to not only have success inside the ring, but outside of the ring as well. Josh is known for his work as the tattooed savior from The Walking Dead. Of course, we all know that show, season 6, 7, 8, and 9. That is pretty damn cool to have 4 consecutive seasons that he's been a part of. And he's also known as the Jeter brother from Under the Dome, seasons 1 and 2, Jake the truck driver from Banshee, Jolene's boyfriend from Nashville, the Southie Thug from Leverage. Josh also has recurring roles on the originals, seasons 3, 4, and 5 as one of the Night Walkers. Josh is also known from his appearance on Resurrection as Gary's buddy, as well as The Gifted, Ant-Man, The Vampire Diaries, Lieutenant Joe Kenda, Homicide Hunter. I remember that show, actually. Snap Killer Couples, Eastbound and Down. That is a great freaking show. If you want to watch something to make you laugh your ass off, Eastbound and Down is it. And he's also been in many major film and other network shows. Josh is also working with Fighting for Autism, where he is the U.S. National Director. Also works with Pops for Patients. That's a really cool thing. We're going to be talking about all this. The Juliana Barbera Foundation, the VFW Post 1994, JDRF, Waiting to Hear, and many other nonprofit charities. Folks, if you have the opportunity to work with nonprofit charities to give some time back, please do it. You don't understand how much 30 minutes of your time to these kids, these adults who don't have no one to come see them, talk to them, how much of an impact this is on them. Trust me, I've seen it. I've been there. Josh, I welcome you to the show. So much respect for you, man. Thanks for being on here.
Oh, dude, thanks for having me. It's my pleasure.
How's it been working with Ron and Chaotic Cat Entertainment so far? I'm going to throw Ron under the bus so right off the bat.
Well, I go through a lot of whiskey and moonshine talking to Ron. No, it's great. You know the best thing about Ron, since we're just going to run him over with the bus, is every time he calls, I literally have to take up and just cancel everything for the next 4 hours. And that's just so he can get one sentence out. Nah, it's been great. I love Ron to death. I met Ron a few years back when I did a Comic-Con actually with Bill Diamond, the first time me and Bill met there in Kentucky. And it was at Ron's shop. And ever since I met Ron and his family, they became family to me. I met him through a mutual friend of ours, Brian Hall, which Brian's another one. If you're going to talk to him on the phone, it's about 6 hours you got to free up for him.
Oh, good God. Jeez. God.
That's why him and Ron became such good friends over the years, I believe, because it's like when you put 2 cats in an alleyway fighting over the same fish.
It's good to be a Eastern Kentucky boy like I am, and know Ron's from here as well, so that's good. Good folks come from Eastern Kentucky, and it's hands down.
I mean, we'll agree to disagree. I lived in Kentucky for a while. I'm a proud Indiana boy.
Uh-oh. So I'm going to jump right into this. Your senior year in high school, what were your realistic goals or dreams for you at that time, and to see what you're doing now today, man, is it like a whirlwind of going back to now to then?
Well, what's funny is I've throughout my whole entire life, from being a child, growing up as an adult, up until about, teenage years, I had the same goal. I mean, I'm not one of those kids that's like, oh, I wanted to be this, I wanted to be this or this, and changed it and changed it and changed it. I had two things that I ever wanted to be, and they've never changed. And the first thing was I wanted to be a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. I wanted to find the ooze, and I wanted to become a turtle.
Yes.
Well, heartbreak happened when I realized that I couldn't become a turtle, and I was just like, well, shit, this sucks.
Oh.
Now what? Well, lo and behold, I was a huge professional wrestling fan. I'm like, these guys are awesome. They wear masks, spandex. They're kind of like the turtles without the shell. So I wanted to be a professional wrestler. I never changed that. Now, when I was actually in school, when I went to public school for a while, they actually offered me, like, it's back when school was, what am I thinking? Back when school was a little more shady. School's still shady to this day. Let's not try to hide that. But the teachers were like, Josh, we will literally give you good grades. And all you got to do is come to football practice and be a football player and play football.
Wow.
And don't get me wrong, I love football, diehard Indianapolis Colts fan, but especially back then, I loved professional wrestling. Playing football in school would mean I wouldn't be home on Monday nights to watch wrestling. I wouldn't be free on the weekends to go to local wrestling shows to study it more. So I would just refuse to give my time up anything wrestling for football. So I just turned it down. All I ever wanted to do was wrestle.
So I want to jump on this just for a quick second, folks, because he's a football fan. I'm a football fan. What do you think about Andrew Luck retiring? Do you think it's due to, hey, my health is in jeopardy, I need to stop now?
Man, there's so many different opinions on that. But, you got to look at it realistically. And a couple of realistic things to look at that a lot of the fan base doesn't look at. There is no way whatsoever it came as a shock to Jim and the Colts. That's just, there's no way. They've discussed this. They knew. And ultimately, I don't blame Luck. I can't pronounce his last name, Jim Israel, I think that's how you pronounce it, our president, our team owner. It is his fault that Andrew Luck retired at a young age. It is his fault that Andrew Luck never got to break records. And everybody's like, well, wouldn't it be Andrew? No, I'm a diehard Colts fan. But the Colts team owner is a complete freaking moron. The guy's an idiot that's out of control, and he don't know shit about football, and he's completely killing what could be a good team. He's too busy out here trying to hook up with the next teenager and flash his wallet instead of focusing on the team, bringing in what the team needs. You could put the best quarterback in the league out there for like Andrew Luck was for so many years, and he's not going to do anything because he's constantly getting hit. You can only get hit so many times, whether it's wrestling, whether it's football, whether it's hockey. Jim Cornette said it best because he's got a brilliant mind. Everybody's got a bump card. When that bump card fills up, it doesn't care what your age is. It doesn't care where you're at in your career, if you're on the top or the bottom or in between. Once it is filled, it's done. No questions asked. And he got his bump card filled up way too soon because he had nobody blocking him. He had no protection out there on the field. And let's be honest, I mean, he took a beating in 2016.
Oh, yeah.
He missed the whole 2017 season. Tried to come back in 2018. What happens? He takes another beating.
Got hurt again. Yep.
So his card filled up way too fast just because of carelessness on the team owner's part, in my opinion.
Jim Irsay, man, he's let that team just dwindle from what it could have been and should have been, in my opinion. And I'm a Steelers fan, and I think the Steelers are going through the same process right now. But I felt so bad because there was another former NFL guy who was pleading for help because I guess it's what's it called, CRT, CRE or something like that with the brain. He was pleading on social media for help, and when you're that old and you're pleading for help and the NFL's not helping you, man, there's something wrong with this.
I mean, head injuries in general, it's took a wild change. Go back 10 to 12 years when I was still young in the business and out here hitting the indie shows and working different places. It was all about, don't block it, take it like a man. I've been cracked on the head so many times it's not even funny. Now I'm, mid-30s and I have memory loss and all this other stuff going down. And I mean, that's why there's a lot of people don't like it because, it's not the same without seeing somebody get smacked over the head and everything. But at the same time, that's why we evolve. It sucks for guys like me that got started back when they were younger and we did all this, but we're the guys that set the trend for these new young kids coming up. Same with the NFL. You look at wrestling, it's evolved to stay away from the headshots. Look at NASCAR after the loss of Dale Earnhardt. The NFL, it's a helmet they're wearing. There's so much more they could do, I feel, to protect the guys' heads because when you get hit, you got a grown man about 300 pounds running at you, and he dives into you. Granted, they're not hitting head to head, but the jolt from that is going to shake your head. And when you smack that ground with another 300 pounds landing on top of you, that's a hard impact. And I know they wear pads and helmets and all, but it's a hell of a thing to do over and over and over again.
I played football. I know. It's not, oh, you're a man, you're a big tough guy. It fucking hurts. There's sometimes you get hit the wrong way. It hurts. I don't care who you are. If you pop up, you're popping up and walking off the field and you're grunting and not trying to make any type of, scene that you're hurt. But trust me, it hurts. I don't care what anybody tells you. It fucking hurts.
The head's a funny thing, too. Like, I wish I would have been smarter when I was younger, but I was that kid when I was younger. If I got hurt, I kept my mouth shut and I kept going.
Yeah,
now I wish I would have never been that guy because it's crazy to see how far we've came in 10 to 15 years through professional sports and injuries from it and professional entertainment.
You went from having your heart busted about not being able to be a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle into professional wrestling. How was the training through OVW for the folks that think, oh, man, that'd be so cool to do? We're going to get back to the football deal because this is where this comes in here. Let's talk about the training and stuff you got because it's not for the light of heart what people think.
Oh, dude, it was unreal. My least favorite thing under the sun was the meat heats we'd go through because we would take chops and just get the hell beat out of us. Somebody messed up, you'd have to run laps. I mean, it was not for the faint of heart. There was only certain times you could have water breaks. It was hot inside the building. It was, if you're going to do this, you're going to have dedication. You're going to show up. You're going to put your body through it. Every day started out with a workout and then running the ropes to where you thought you were going to puke, have spaghetti legs. But I wouldn't trade any of it for anything in the world. And what's crazy too is, a lot of people ask, what was it like training at OVW, the WWE training camp? It was awesome. And when I got hurt and I wound up leaving OVW and I hit the independent circuit, all that paying my dues there didn't mean anything because this was my first time actually working the independent. So all that paying my dues turned right around into coming right back at me again.
And when you take those bumps and stuff and those ropes ain't light on you because they will leave whelps on you, bruises. They will mess you
I'll take
up.
ropes any day over cables, though.
Oh, well, yeah.
I've done some shows where we're running the cables, and, man, the cables suck.
I can imagine. Was there a match for you that pushed you to your limits that made you rethink about being a wrestler at some point?
Yeah, my first time ever being in the ring with Tracy Smothers. I was nervous wreck. Tracy's phenomenal, too. I think Tracy's one of those guys that does not age with his looks and his talent because he's just, you can't put it into words what Tracy Smothers is. I remember the first time I worked Tracy, I got my ass kicked. It felt like for a week straight. And it was a basic match, but, man, I felt like I was dead. And I remember coming to the back, shaking Tracy's hand, and, all was good. He said it was good out there, and I'm just sitting there thinking, oh, my God, this is the worst feeling I've ever felt in my life.
I remember watching him on Smoky Mountain Wrestling when I was a kid. That, to me, other than the old NWA and then Smoky Mountain Wrestling, those two, you couldn't get no better wrestling at that time, in my opinion.
No, and, I mean, to me, there's certain guys out there that, I know everybody's into this new age wrestling with like the high spots and the flips, but I guess call me old school, call me one of those old guys that's disgruntled because that's what all these new high fat kids want to do and be like, oh, all these old guys don't like wrestling. Well, no, we love wrestling. It's you guys that love acrobats and the circus. Because I would take watching Jake Roberts, Ricky Morton, Robert Gibson, Arn Anderson, Tracy Smothers, Rip Rogers. I would take watching those guys any day of the week. Harley Race. Yes. There's so many. I could sit here and name them forever. Oh, I would love watch. I like watching those guys. That's wrestling.
Yeah, well, yeah, old school Ric Flair and Ricky the Steamboat and the Great Muta.
Yes, One of my main reasons I ever wanted to become a professional wrestler was because of Macho Man Randy Savage.
Ooh, yeah.
That was the guy, him and Andre the Giant. And, that was wrestling.
Yes. Are you surprised that Jay Lethal's little Macho Man deal went as long as it did? That was crazy.
Yes and no. At first, it was kind of like, this could get stale quick, but he did it so well.
He did.
He did it so well that it didn't get old. It kept you interested in it because of how good he was at it.
Are you still wrestling from time to time, or just no? Have you quit it full time now, just not doing any more?
I'm still wrestling. I do it. It's very rare. I went through a couple beat downs on the health with some issues, so a lot of people thought I should quit after the time I had reconstructive neck surgery. That didn't happen. Everybody knows it's open information. I don't hide it. I had a heart issue where I had an implant put in. Everybody's like, oh, Josh is done now for sure. Nah, I came right back. I'm doing it again. I don't get to do it as much as I would love to, but I love wrestling. I'm not one of these guys that's going to be like, I'm retired, because I know if I do that, then something's going to come up and the itch is going to be there where I can just be like, hey, look, I don't do it as much because I got my kids now. I'm dealing with health. I'll never have the body that I used to have because of all the injuries, and now I'm just fat and lazy. Now it's like, wow, I can go to the gym for 30 minutes to an hour and work out and get my body back, or I can play with my kids for a little while in that hour. Then I can get hot and exhausted from being outside with them, come inside and pop open a 6-pack of beer.
Or we'll get on Xbox and we have some ass on WWE on there.
I mean, right? Everything's done with emojis and icons and your little character you create online anyway, so I can always make him have 6-pack abs. That works. Plus, it is a proven fact that it is a proven fact. I was reading in like 15 different health magazines that women now prefer a dad bod over a ripped bod.
Wow, I wonder if they would prefer a John the Bod. Oh, a little Dangerfield on that one. Hey.
Walking on the landmine.
What was your dream match if you were to ever hit the pinnacle of being a big name professional wrestler? What was that dream match for you?
One that I could have never had, which would have been Macho Man Randy Savage.
That's awesome.
I mean, I just, to me, Macho Man was hands down. Everybody's like Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair. Nothing against either one of them, but Savage was the guy. He was the Macho Man. You believed it 100%, and there's just nobody better.
KAPOW Into Deep, Saturday, September 14th, 2019. Noah shows us the meaning of Noah Strong. This little dude is beating cancer, and Noah has the chance to beat you in his toughest match of all time in an arm wrestling challenge. Saving baby Noah, this is what we got to do from B-Cell. How did this come together? And especially how special this is for everyone to show Noah support, and that he has people who care for him and want to see not just him, but everybody overcome cancer.
Well, the first thing, is hats off and so much. Noah is truly a fighter. He's the pinnacle of what a fighter and a champion should be called. He's at such a young age, he's out there, and he's battling something that terrifies us as adults. He's battling cancer, and he's fighting off cancer. That is an accomplishment that there's no words for. He is as brave as they come, as strong as they come, and he's got the support clearly from the big guy upstairs. This kid has a meaning and a purpose to not just control his life, but to define his life and others by overcoming such a thing, which is why I consider this one of my biggest challenges and toughest challenges to this day as well. And if I had to put it in anything, I've got to do fun stuff with kids here and there, joking around with them, but I've never got to have a sanctioned match, so to speak. Granted, it's just arm wrestling, but it's still a sanctioned match. So I'm going to go ahead and put it out there that this is going to be one of my top 3 favorites of all time, if not the top, because Noah is going to show everybody what Noah Strong means. Mm-hmm. Now, what that means is he's used to having all these people take up for him. He's used to having people give him things. He's used to having people be like, you got this, Noah, and pushing him on. I'm going to challenge him. I'm going to make him work for it. He's going to have to legitimately beat me for this to matter to him. That means I can't come in there and give it to him because he's going to earn it. And it's amazing. And the way all this came about is Randy, the founder of Pops for Patients, he hit me up and he's like, hey, Noah's coming to the show. He would like to challenge somebody to something. I'm like, right on. Well, you let me know how that goes. And Randy talked to the guys over at KAPOW, and KAPOW was, pitching it around, trying to see which guy would pick up the challenge of Noah's. Well, lo and behold, come to find out, Randy calls me back. Nobody at KAPOW wanted to accept Noah's challenge. They didn't want to be built against Noah, for one, because that wouldn't be good. Or two, they were afraid of what would happen if they lost. They didn't want to be the guy that lost to Noah. Nobody was brave enough to accept Noah's challenge. So when Randy called me back up and he's like, hey, nobody's accepting the challenge of Noah, I was like, you know what? What a better way for me to show up at KAPOW and make my KAPOW debut and actually, for once, perform in the ring by accepting Noah's challenge. That I would do it.
And you know what, man? You better watch out because he may do a Ric Flair on you and get you in a figure 4 leg lock, So, and he may be able to do that.
I've been doing a lot of studying. There's going to be a couple videos coming out to show my studying techniques, but I just went to Walmart and I beat 7 kids while going back there to get the cheese sticks that I wanted for supper. 7 kids. I just right on top of the Coke bottles, on top of the dog food. I mean, bam, bam, bam. That's all I'm doing. I beat 7 kids in one night arm wrestling at Walmart.
Oh, that's great.
And something that's even better, because I got smart. I'm not dumb. I know what I'm doing. Not only did I challenge the 7 kids, but I also beat one grandmother.
Oh, wow. Granny too.
She was going for the last of the Oreos, and she's like, I really need these, honey. You could take the mint ones. And I just looked at her. I was like, whoa. You really think I'm going to take the mint Oreos? That's like eating toothpaste. No, look. You don't have taste buds at your age. We'll arm wrestle for them.
Oh.
Bam, I pinned her down. I got the Oreos. It was perfect.
You could have just traded her some, applesauce for that or something. That would have worked. Or some Geritol. I'm sorry. I went there. Metamucil. Oh, shame on me. That's bad. Bad John, bad. But honestly, man,
I was going to say Insure, but we're not going there.
Honestly, kudos to you on what you're doing for Noah and for everybody that's involved in this. This is something very special, even though it's nothing huge, but this is absolutely beautiful on what you guys are doing. So kudos to you and everybody who's involved in this.
I can't thank Randy, KAPOW, and of course Noah's mom and her family and that support system, because this is all about raising awareness for Noah, letting people know at his age what he's out there and fighting through and what he's doing on a daily basis and how he's overcoming it, which is enlightened to help others who are struggling maybe through the same thing or maybe struggling through a different situation in their life, where they can look at Noah at such a young age, still out there smiling, still out there having a good time. The whole purpose is, no matter what comes our way, we don't give up. We don't lay down and quit. Be strong, be proud, and just take it head on.
Did you go slowly from trying to be a professional wrestler into the major film and network shows? How did that all come to fruition?
That actually was a wild thing that happened. I met legendary actor Jesse Vent, who's a member of the Academy Awards. And me and Jesse started talking, long story short. He was telling me about him being an actor. That's something I should look into. And I'm just like, nah, not interested. And he's like, well, you do good. Come check out my classes. And so I went and checked out some of his acting classes. I was like, Long story short, he talks me into doing them. Me and Jesse become closer friends. I'm over at his house, and I realize he's got like a little Academy Award gimmick on his table. And I'm like, whoa. And he starts showing me all the movies that he gets in. They're not like any other ones that people can see. Only members of the Academy can watch them this way because they have to vote on it. And he's like, you should really give this a shot. So I had my first audition for the TNT's Leverage to be the Southie Thug and beat up Christian Kane and all this stuff. I went there, long story short, obviously it worked out and I got the part, and it was just like, whoa, this is friggin' awesome. this is amazing. This is so much easier than, slamming myself on a cold, hard ground and a steel frame wrestling. This is unreal. This is perfect. And I went with it full on, had a good time. And this was still a good time, but so we can just get it out of the way. My daughter, who actually does this as well, that's why we became the father-daughter duo, because we both appear in films. Her first gig she ever got was in the most, it was perfect, because mine came from legendary actor Jesse Venn. Everything that's came my way, it's kind of funny, and it's hard for people to believe. It's hard for me to believe too, but it's always come in this unique way that stands out, that's not normal. That's just the moral of the life of TKO is nothing's been normal from childhood to adult and anything. So it's like, how would be a better way for my daughter to get started in the film industry that she can always reflect back on as being not quite the normal way of getting started? We went to a gig in Charlotte, North Carolina. I didn't have a babysitter at the time, so I just decided to take her with me. We walk on the set, and I get approached, and they tell me, hey, look, we ain't got room for you today. Budget cuts are happening. You're canned. And I'm like, oh, right on. Well, could have saved me the drive of coming out here, but that's cool.
Yeah, really.
Thank you, guys. I hope to work with you again. Blah, 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 blah. I go to leave, and they're like, oh, wait a second. You can't leave. And they pointed at Kaylee, and I'm like, I was starting to get a little pissed. So I was like, I can do whatever the hell I want. Don't tell me I can't leave with my kid here, because somebody will get laid out. Like, we're going to leave. We'll just go chill the town. I'll take her to do a couple things. Piss off. Don't tell me I can't leave.
Right.
And they're like, well, no, you can't leave. We need you to stay. You just fired me. Why in the hell would I stay here? Well, this goes on for a little while, and this guy comes up to me, and I'm hot at this point because I'm not ready to go. They're like, look, I know we just released you, but we would actually like to hire your daughter for today. Now that we're getting rid of you and a couple others, we have the budget. We'll pay her double. And I'm just kind of standing there looking, and, Kaylee's she's about 5 years old at the time. And I was like, is it something I asked her. It was up to her. She's like, yes, please, Dad. So we stayed, and she got her first gig by, me getting fired.
How did she do her first gig, man? How did it go, you think?
Oh, she did phenomenal. Everybody said she did. They couldn't believe how well she did. And, I didn't really want her to do much after that. Like, she liked it and all, but she's still a kid, and I want her to be a kid.
Right,
That's my main thing. Be a kid. That's why she goes to public school. Be a kid, be a kid, be a kid. Because you only get one childhood, and my childhood was by far not anything that it should have been. I had a broken home with my dad and everything, but that's why I want my kid to experience life, be a kid, and have those memories. Do everything that all the kids wish they could do. And her second gig she ever did, she had a starring role alongside Vince Vaughn, Terrence Howard, and Bill Paxton and all this stuff. And in her first and second gig, both of them said they felt like she was just done it for years. They couldn't believe how well she did. And I wish I could take credit for showing her and teaching her, but I didn't really show and teach her too much. Like, she just did it from watching me and learning and taking those mental notes and more or less training herself.
What about you when you got your first gig doing this, man? Do you remember like the thoughts that were going through your head? Like, oh shit, oh no, this is real. This is gonna go live.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's just like, the first time I was ever on the film set, they're sitting there yelling off these words that's their carny lingo basically, and I'm just sitting there like, I'm just gonna keep doing this. And they're like, no, we stopped 5 minutes ago. It's crazy. I think that's what makes it good though, is when you do something like that, that's the thrill of getting into something new, is the butterflies and starting from the ground floor up and learning about it.
Yeah, I agree with that 1,000%. And it just like me doing interviews. My very first interview, I was shitting bricks. I stuttered. I went all over the place, and finally I just said, you know what, man? These people put their clothes on the same way I do. They put their shoes on the same way I do. They're just people. That's it.
Well, wait a second. Do you put your left shoe or your right shoe on first?
I do both at the same time. How about that, sir?
Then we do not put our shoes on the same way.
I was just making a reference, damn it.
I'm just saying. That's like when you put your pants on, do you do left leg or right leg first?
All right, we're going to move on. Anyway, no.
I mean, I'm just throwing it out there.
Oh, some days it's
I
right.
mean, we could get real personal, and I could ask you what kind of toilet paper guy are you, over or under?
Oh, good Lord. Yeah, some days I get wild, man. I go right leg, left leg. Other days, it's just how I feel that day. I get wild a little bit. You never know. You never know what I'm going to do. Other than bumps and bruises, has acting been more the role fit for you, possibly? If that makes sense.
Yes and no. I don't really know if anything's actually the role fit for me, because I'm an eccentric dude. I'm out there. I don't really get embarrassed. I like pushing people's buttons, seeing how far I can take them. It's hard to say what's the best fit for me, because acting has its benefits and its negatives. Wrestling has its benefits and its negatives. I think, combining the two gets me close to there, but it's crazy. I'm a different person. I like seeing what all I can get into and what all I can, rally up.
Out of all the major films and network shows, which was the hardest one as far as your role in that? And which was your favorite one so far, if you can choose possibly?
The obvious answer is going to be The Walking Dead, because I got some funny stories. When we were all there and we debuted the Saviors with Negan as the original core Saviors when he first debuted. You talking about cold, dude. I've never in my life felt my nipples get so cold that I thought they could cut glass. Man, it was cold.
Okay, so working on that set, though, how was working with everybody on it, especially the directors?
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. Everybody there is down to earth. From Greg Nicotero, Norman Reedus, Jeffrey, Andrew, everybody got along. It didn't matter if you were a tree. Everybody talked to everybody. And, now going from how cold it was, too, this is the intensity of that show. That was so cold at the end of season 6. We fast forward to season 7. We're mid-season. We're invading Alexandria and tearing apart the town. It was so hot that day that the bottom of my shoes melted and cooked the bottom of my feet.
Good God, dude. Jeez.
Now, a little cool fact, too, that, kind of freaked a bunch of people out. But, again, I blame it on the wrestling mentality. Episode 4, when we did that whole taking over Alexandria, a few of the other people and the Saviors and some of, we'll call them the mid-card cast that I was friends with, they couldn't believe that I actually showed up for that episode. Because literally 24 hours before it, I had heart surgery.
What the hell, man? Jeez.
I remember I was in West Knoxville. They went in to perform the surgery on me, and it was not nothing too big. They were doing a heart cast. They went up through my arm. They got halfway. I flatlined on them. They jerked it out, shocked me back, and went through both sides of my groin at the same time on both legs, and got up there and took care of some things. And I remember I'm laying there, and I got the call, hey, look, this is last minute, but things have happened where we can run this tomorrow. Like, right on, I'll be there, and I hang up. And I remember clicking the button for the doctor to come in, and the doctor comes in about the same time that Kaylee and her mom Wanda and all gets in there, and I'm like, hey, look, I know I'm supposed to stay in here a while, but I'm ready to leave. And he's like, well, we might be keeping you. No, nobody's keeping me. I'm leaving. I have to go. So much to his displeasure, much to my family's displeasure, we leave the hospital. I bring them home, my stepson Thomas, and she's like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm packing. I got to go film. I literally got home, rested for about 2.5 hours, threw my bag in the car, drove overnight to Sonoya, was on set by 9 o'clock that morning.
Man alive. That's insane.
And I know a couple of the guys there when I walked in, they're just like, dude, are you okay? I mean, I could barely move. I was still discolored. It was miserable being in the heat with an open wounds, and it was just like the people. But I didn't complain. I kept my mouth shut, and I was just like, you know what? And they kept asking me, why are you here? Why are you here? I just told them, you never turn down an opportunity. You never turn down an opportunity because you don't know what it's going to lead to. And sometimes you just got to prove that dedication. And is it going to hurt? Yeah, it's going to hurt, but no pain, no gain.
Oh yeah, I agree with that 1,000%. I honestly agree with that 1,000% because it's like my shows. Everybody, I get hell because I have independent bands and stuff on, and they just have a single out, and they're like, I wouldn't interview somebody that just has a single out. Well, good, that's you. That's not me. I'm interested in what that band wants to do. You know,
my biggest argument there is I hate when people say that about bands. I wouldn't do. one, you don't know if they've had a single out just because they've got one song that they're doing that's popular.
Right.
Is most of the guys that have one single out have written all the hit songs for the other artists out there.
Yeah, pretty much. Just about.
And you never know who's going to take off. Look at the Blanco Brown. He does that song, The Get Up, and it's became the most popular song there is.
And I love this, man. I'll say this right now. If folks haven't got this through me yet and during my interviews, to me, doing an interview gets me excited like a band going on stage. My I get chills. I mean, it really does. I eat, breathe, love doing interviews. It's my passion. It's my sanctuary. This is what I love.
Don't lie to everybody. The chills is just the crotch goblins taking place that you got going on.
I told you never to mention that. We had an agreement, Jerry. We had an agreement. We're done. Jerry, get him off stage. Get him. Go. Get You've worked with a lot of charities, and this is what I like a lot about you, man. I have nothing but respect for you for this. What's it mean to you to help and give back and see those smiles and make a difference to someone's life that's fighting for their life or just needs that simple, hello, how are you doing today from someone? Why is this so important to you to help and give back?
It actually stems from a few different reasons. One, I grew up in a very broken, abusive home with my dad. My dad was very not all there. He had some major issues. So that stands out a lot because I know kids that go through that, and I've been there. I went through that. I met a girl. Her name was Kaylee Sidians. She was autistic. She had never stayed through a whole show. She stayed through an entire event because I was wrestling there, and it was the first night we met, and she gave me a big old hug and said she loved me. Her and her families literally became family to me. I have an autism tattoo for her and everything now. I got my puzzle piece. That was a life-changing moment. And then, Pops for Patience. I love the cause behind it. And I've got the opportunity to tour the hospital on 4 different occasions so far, handing, signed photos out and handing these pop figures to these kids and watching them from, 9 months old, a year old, all the way up to 17, 18 years old. Every age in between, going through all these health issues, things that are terrifying, having doctors look at them and tell them, well, you may not make it through this. This is going to do this and this. I mean, things that we can't even put our minds around being told as an adult, these children are getting told. And, of course, it breaks their heart and it scares them. When you walk into that room and you're there to see them and they're the star of the show, when you give them this toy and just smile and laugh with them, and you see that smile come over their face. And it may just be for 3 seconds, but for that 3 seconds, that kid didn't have to worry about what was going on in their life. They had that happy moment. That was their time to just decompress and de-stress everything and enjoy that life right there that they're in. And that's the best thing in the world. And I tell people all the time, if we're not doing things to better the youth and to take care of the youth, what are we doing in the first place? Because none of us are going to be here forever. We have to pave the way and set an example for those when we're gone. Mm-hmm. And that's what I want my kids to know. And, 2 other things to go along with this. One, my daughter, she done an amazing thing. When the Gatlinburg fires happened, she went into her bedroom and she bagged up every single stuffed animal she had.
Wow. Brought
it to me and said, Dad, I want to go give this to the kids that lost theirs. I was like, well, are you sure? Because you won't have any, you don't even want to be the typical parent. I was like, you sure you don't even want to keep 1 or 2 of them for yourself because you're going to have none? Yeah, I don't want any right now. I'll eventually get more. I want to give them all to them. So she literally gave every single one she had away.
Dude, that's
awesome. It wasn't about keeping one. It wasn't about anything like that. She wanted them to have it.
That's awesome. Kudos to your daughter, man. That is really awesome. Dude, that's...
Now, I don't say this a whole lot, and I know it's out there publicly. A lot of people know about it because from The Walking Dead and all, a lot of people ask, and every now and then I'll let people in on the truth because a lot of people always ask, why do you do so much for the kids? Why is it about the youth? This, and this? Because these kids are going through so much and they have such a hard time, and they need to know that their life is important. The big guy upstairs is writing a success story through them. They're going to overcome this, and they're going to save many people and help many people throughout their life as they get older. Each one of these kids are true fighters, are true champions, are true heroes out there doing that. Back when I was at Ohio Valley Wrestling with the girl I was with at the time, she gave birth to what was supposed to be my firstborn. Well, it was my firstborn child, as far as I'm led to believe. And long story short, not to get too graphic in it, she basically took our child's life.
Oh, man.
The only thing I know about that kid is I remember I was sitting down the steps. It was the 4th of July. We had heard their heartbeat. I went outside. I called up Boris Anthony, who is better known as WWE's former superstar, Santino Marella. And I tell him, and he's like, well, call your mom, dude. That's awesome. Congratulations. He's prepping me for it and helping me, just kind of hold it together. I call up another buddy of mine who his name was Cody Crow. He was training with us at the time. I talked to Cody, told him what Boris said. And he's like, yeah, dude, you got to call your mom. This is awesome, man. We'll talk tomorrow. So I call my mom, and as I'm telling my mom, fireworks are going off because it's the 4th of July. Everything was supposed to be great, and it didn't turn out that way. And for some odd reason, she felt different. She wanted me to quit wrestling. I wouldn't quit wrestling. Could have been my mistake. 2 wrongs don't make a right. She got mad. Our kid suffered for it.
Oh, man, I'm so sorry.
Oh, no. The big guy upstairs led me through it, but, I broke. I mentally, physically, emotionally, I broke. I became an addict. I became an alcoholic. I didn't care. I was suicidal. I was done. And I kept trying to give up. But people and the big guy upstairs wouldn't give up on me. And that's why we do what we do now for all these kids. Because there's no shame in hitting that point of life where you just feel like, I can't. And you give up. And when you give up, you literally give up. People give up in different ways, through depression, through suicide, abuse, alcoholism, being an addict. People break and they just give up and need that getaway. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it's knowing that you don't have to give up, that people are out there supporting you, that we can maybe, when somebody's feeling that emotion of just like, is it even worth it? Look at all this going on to me. Then that pat on the back comes and it's, hey, look, you're important. You're an inspiration to push me to try harder and do better. You can't quit now. And that's all we're trying to do, is bring happiness and smiles and motivation to these kids that may be facing some kind of turmoil in their life.
That's why I say a simple, hey, man, how you doing today? Do you need, just something like that? You never know, could snap somebody out of doing something bad. Just a simple, hello, how you doing? Just to acknowledge them. That means so much to somebody. I was there. I know.
People wouldn't believe the difference that makes. I was driving down Gatlinburg when we were working on the new show that we're filming, the Beards and Beer show, and I see this guy on top of one of the parking garages. He's on the very top thing, about it was 3 or 4 stories high. He's sitting on it, and he looks like he's crying. I just put the car in park in the middle of the road, kind of lean out and look up with some friends of mine, and he slides his feet over the edge, like fixing to pull forward and make the jump, and I just instantly scream, hey, brother, are you okay? He just looks, no. We take off running up the hill and running over to him. And I'm like, whoa, hey, think about what you're doing, man. You all right? It's not worth it. You're needed. And, of course, he climbed back over, and he came over, and he gives me this big hug, and he goes, thank you so much. I was going to jump, but all it took was just, he goes, I didn't think anybody cared, and you stopped. You acted like you really care. And I was like, well, dude, I do. Don't ever do something like that. And I think me and him talked for like maybe an hour and a half.
See, that's folks, I'm going to say this right now. I don't care who gets pissed at me or not. If you got people in your life that don't want to associate with you or check on you or whatever, then get rid of them. Be around that positive people that makes you want to be better, that makes you want to strive and do things, accomplish things. I don't care how old you are. Make that change.
Yeah, I mean, people just need to know that there's always somebody out there. If you're feeling any kind of thing or going through something, talk to somebody. Call up a hotline, message me. We'll talk. I'll talk to anybody.
You do a lot of conventions. When you see folks lined up to meet you at those conventions, what's going through your mind when you're seeing these folks, man?
That I feel really, really bad for them having no life, because why in the world would they stand in line to meet me? No, it's awesome. It's a weird experience. It's something that still, honestly, I'm getting used to, because I don't know. I've just never been that guy that's about autographs and all that stuff. I'm just, people's people, and that everybody that meets me And, you know, some of the bigger shows I've done, they get ticked off of this scenario, which I don't care. I try to make sure anybody that's taking the time out of their day, everybody lives a crazy, hectic life. We all have things we have to get done. Everybody's got to pay bills. Everybody's got to eat. You got animals to take care of, kids to take care of. So for somebody to take time out of their day that they could be spending with their loved one or their parents or their friends or whatever they could be doing, they chose for that part of their life, that moment in their time, to be spent on meeting me. I try to make it as personal and memorable for them as possible.
Josh, is there a country that stands out or shocks you that you've gotten an email from, or you get support from that area possibly? Have you been shocked, maybe, possibly?
Yeah, a couple times through doing all the charity work and everything, and just, you know, being me. We've had worldwide exposure a couple times, and, you know, first it was kind of like, oh, wow, the United Kingdom, I have a fan base there. That's pretty cool. And that was kind of a shocker. And then, you know, some people in Canada, it's like, oh, that's cool. Then all of a sudden I get hit up and they're like, Japan. Whoa, what? That's awesome. Cool, yeah. Then it's like Australia, all the mainstream ones, you know, of course. And it's like, well, that's cool. Then it's like Jamaica and Ireland. These people were sending me this. Like, what? That's freaking awesome. So yeah, having that opportunity to be like, you know, people not just here or there, but all around the globe, at some point has read your name. It's just like, well, that's an interesting concept. I'm glad they read that report and not the other one about me.
God.
Wait, no, we're not supposed to say that, am I? My bad. This is why everybody I worked for and agencies like, you know, from Ron to Lynn and all the people that help me and try to keep me on track on a daily basis of public image constantly scream shit and pull their hair out every time they hear I do an interview, because they're like, Josh, really? You went there?
If me and Josh,
oh yeah, I wasn't supposed to do that, was I?
If me and Josh had our own podcast, it would be the #1 podcast of all time of everything. Fuck everybody else.
Everybody would constantly be offended and hate it. It would be great.
It'd be good though. I don't care. We'd be talking, and Josh just wonders, "Oh, hey, wait, where are you going? Come here, over here."
It would be fine. It would be okay. I know what I'm doing. I've done it for a while. I'm very good at what I do. You don't have to worry. I'll tweet about it later.
It's all good. We got the emotes now. It's all good. Do you have a go-to album or song that just let you escape when you were younger, or maybe now, man? Do you have one possibly?
My baloney has a first name. No, that'd be terrible. Now, I'm always been a big fan of the Dropkick Murphys. I love the Dropkick Murphys stuff, and especially with what they just recently did, helping the kid with cancer out. But a lot of people always ask me what I listen to on the road. Well, I have an album, you know, one of the little mixtapes that I made for myself, and all it is Whiskey Myers, Cody Jinks, and Tyler Childers. And I pretty much play that sucker on repeat. Every now and then I'll listen to Clayton Jennings as well, who's a really cool dude for motivation and evangelism and all that. But yeah, I got my album that I play on repeat. Sometimes if I want to switch it up, I'll throw in like Jamie Johnson or David Allen Coe, Soil. A lot of times too, I like to listen to Avril Lavigne, Hit Me Baby One More Time, because I'm a genie in a bottle. So it's just like bye, 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 because Backstreet's back, all right?
All right. I can't believe I just did that. You got to be kidding me. A metalhead, and I'm serious. Oh, I've lost a man card. Thanks, Josh. Goodness gracious. Are you working on anything new or going to be soon, possibly?
Yeah, I got a couple cool films coming up, from mainstream to independent projects. Wish I could say their names, but I can't. The one thing I can talk about is check out the Beards and Beer show. Got some really cool things coming up with it and some major opportunities. So everybody cross fingers, say a prayer for that, with where we're going and the progression of that. On behalf of the Beards and Beer show, check out Trunk of Man, because it's awesome. What better thing is there to do than drink a beer and talk about the beer you're drinking and have a good time with some friends?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Folks, you want to please, if you're around the KAPOW show, Saturday, September 14th, this is for Noah. This is Josh's biggest match, arm wrestling. And I got $10 on Noah. I think he'll take you down.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and announce something with you two that I'm going to be discussing with KAPOW. I'm going to be discussing with Randy at Pops for Patience. I will be there that night, to do this against Noah, but, I'll set up a little booth. I'll throw some of my licensed AMC Walking Dead prints out. Kaylee will throw her Walking Dead and her Stranger Things out. Because Kaylee will be in attendance with me. And one of the things that we're going to offer that night is anybody who wants to meet us and wants a picture, pictures will not be normal priced. Pictures, there will be a donation jar on the table. Whatever they donate, we'll give them a signed photo for, because, everybody has different funds in their life, different responsibilities. And at the end of the night, we're going to take whatever we raise, and we want to give it to Noah's family for coming out.
Like I said earlier, this is tremendous on what you guys are doing. So, folks, get out, help, and support. Show this little fella that we're behind you, not just him, just everybody. We're behind everybody that's fighting all this. Josh, my brother, how can folks stay in touch with you, buy your merchandise, things like that? How can they do all this, dude?
Probably by coming and knocking on my front door. Nah, but the easiest way, instead of doing that way my dogs don't go crazy, is hop on Facebook, actor pro wrestler Josh Turner, actress Kaylee Turner. It'll pull up our pages. If you're on Twitter, at KBreeT for Kaylee Turner. For me on Twitter, it's at Savior TKO. You can check us out on Instagram at Savior TKO. If you got TikTok, we're doing TikTok now, the Father-Daughter Duo. The Father-Daughter Duo on YouTube as well. To set us up on social media.
Wait, is it TikTok like Color Me Bad song or something? TikTok, you don't stop, something like that? I don't know.
You definitely don't listen to metal.
I do too. Anyway, Josh, before I let you go, would you care to do a promo for my show?
Yeah, absolutely. Would you care to take Jeff Dunham's hand out of your ass for me, though? Because you sound like one of his puppets.
Oh, wow. That was a below the belt.
Oh!
That was
how am I going to top that now?
That was below the belt. You put a flare on me.
All right. Yo, what's up, everybody? Right now, while you're chilling on your couch listening to me, Josh TKO, you're wondering how you can get out there and get your bod moving? Well, you can get your bod moving by listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Everybody stick around. We got some great stuff coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour and BODS Mayhem Radio Network. Please get out and check out our Facebook page. It has our podcast link, YouTube link, and I've always said this soon, our Twitch link. I am working on it. Also, it's very important that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Yes, the BODS Mayhem Hour YouTube channel. We're going to have anything and everything up on that YouTube page. So be awesome and sign up and check us out and support us, folks, because we support everybody else. Also, get out and check out Josh TKO Turner, wherever he's at. Keep in touch with him. I'm telling you, folks, you will not be disappointed. Josh, thank you for being on the show, and get out of here. Go. Get.
Thank you, brother. Get your bod on the bod.
You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.